basically you pay for it online, and the reason why is because I don't know how many of you have had any experience with QuickBooks, desktop or online. Okay, so I've worked with both desktop and online. A lot of people are shifting to online, and that is because I had one client that bought like, they had to buy like tons of computers, might not tons, I'll say, but like 2 or 3 computers, but like every time their computer would crash, they would lose all of their information, then they would re-enter it, and it was just a lot. So QuickBooks Online is just a really great way to keep everything backed up. Now, there are some people, again, who still like QuickBooks Desktop, but for right now, a lot of people are switching over to QuickBooks Online, and I know Intuit, they have a big push to push everything online because, again, you don't have a lot of those issues, you know, technically to worry about. However, I will say QuickBooks Desktop is more robust. You know, there are a lot of things that you can do, but they are on 2 separate platforms, and so either way, you know, again, I know someone who uses QuickBooks Desktop, and it works for them because that's the only thing that they have on their desktop. They only use it for that purpose, for administrative purposes. So
Can you back up your desktop into your own cloud service? iCloud, Dropbox?
You can, yes, you can, because you can do the file. Yes, you can, because you can upload the file itself to it, but as far as the cloud, they should have their own backup service within QuickBooks Desktop. But I was a co-advisor, I think back in 2011 for QuickBooks Desktop, and so not much has changed. But again, I shifted over to the QuickBooks Online because there's just more access to it. So let me move this up. All right. Well, it's okay. We'll just make it work. So, all right. Seems like everyone's doing really well today. So everyone have a good lunch? Yes. Awesome. Okay. So we're waiting to get lunch. Some of you are waiting. This is great. So again, my name is Coach Janelle CPA, and just to tell you a little bit about myself, not that you can hear about my story, right? But here, basically, I've been a CPA for almost a decade, and also, I am an accounting professor at Rose State College for about 5 years, and so I've been doing that. And so my passion for the longest time has been in teaching, basically. So I worked in public accounting, oil and gas, and different things. Oh, there's a little one. Oh, sorry. Okay, see, they're like really distracted, right? I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. So family, I just, little ones, they're so awesome. So again, that's just a little bit about me. Again, I have been training business owners and ministries, pastors and different things like that for about 10 years. So that's just a little bit about me and how I got into training, basically. So focus your finances is something that I do, but let me just dive right in. And if you have any questions, feel free just to write them down. Any questions that you have right now, but and also I can give you all access to this power. It's not like a big long PowerPoint, but I just wanted to make it simple because I don't want to overwhelm you all with information. But I put 3 mistakes and a half more. There you go. So that's the first mistake. As an accountant and a CPA, right? She's like, no, you need to pick me back up, please. I'm not even that. So don't put me down, right? So 4 mistakes, right? Is not separating business and personal accounts, basically. So a lot of times, and trust me, it's on all different levels. So I know people who, oh my gosh, like they make way more money than like you can shake a stick at. But I'm like, when I look at their accounts, I'm like, how do you do this? Like personal and business was mixed up. So we had to come up with a plan for them to separate the two. Because, and just to like break this up, the IRS actually got involved way before. So we had actually come up with a system to help separate that. So that's one of the things. I know a lot of people, I don't know where everyone is. How many years have you all been in this business? Okay. You said
73.
Seems like forever.
73.
Since 73, since 78,
14 years.
14.
4 days.
4 days. Oh.
That's a good start.
It is. Yeah. Anyone today? No? They do that on a cruise ship. They're like, anyone today, get married, you know. And then we have since 73, 88.
4 years.
4 years. Wow, amazing.
It's like 6 months.
6 months. Awesome. Awesome.
7 years. Looking at you. It's my second year.
Second year?
4 years.
4 years, and then
23 years.
23 years. Awesome.
18.
18. Wow. 4 days. Oh yeah, 4 days. Yes.
9 years.
9 years. Yeah. Amazing.
2 years.
2 years. You're like.
If you don't know, who does? I mean,
I love it. Yeah. 15 years. Awesome.
Almost 3 years.
3 years. Okay, great.
5 months.
5 months. Yeah.
3 years.
3 years.
Just started my 4th year.
Wow. Wow. Awesome.
3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
3 years. Wow.
6 years.
6 years. Wow. Wow. Awesome.
6.
6.
Yeah.
6, and then I'm over here.
19, but feels like 50.
But you look so young.
I was 12 when I started.
Yeah, I know, right? I love it. So,
About 5 months.
5 months. Awesome.
So 14.
14.
11.
11. 2 years. So we have a wide range. I love that.
they're all business people.
They're all
From
business.
even the 4th day one
The 4 day
is a
one.
business person.
I cheated though. I have an MBA, so I am a business person.
You're like, I know about business.
But I am not this business person.
Well, it is definitely a different, you know, a different field, you know, once you go from working for someone into just going in and going into this field. So what got everyone in? I'm just curious, just to hear a few answers. What got you involved in real estate? Is that, I promise this has something to do with it, like what QuickBooks, like, promise this has something to do with it, but yeah, what got,
Illusion of freedom.
wow.
Where else, yeah, where else can you have your baby in class? That's freedom right there.
That's fine. How I got it.
Oh, hey, score, right? No, I'm just learning. Okay. I love it. I love it. That's awesome.
Actually, I couldn't sell her house, so I had to marry her.
Oh, okay. See, that's it. Really? Wow. So it's like, wow, that's,
He
hey.
started out being my realtor, I think, for it.
And you were like, why not? You can sell this house, I guess.
You had
you know,
all
okay.
kinds of objections I'd never heard of before.
So any questions, y'all can ask him on objections, everything, right? That's awesome. Wow, that's an awesome story. So wow. Anyone else would like to share? Yes.
I went to auction school and was just going to start a farm license business. While I was at school, they said, if you ever want to sell property, you have a real estate license. I said, well, I'll get that too. And here I am.
Wow. Wow, that's interesting. That's good. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Anyone? Yes.
I was buying rental property and the realtor told me that I could do this just as well as anybody. Might as well go get my license.
Wow. I love how everyone got into the business. Like, hey.
Yeah, 14 years later, she's
Wow.
still owns
I
property.
still own
and-
property. I'm closing one next week for me.
Oh, that's awesome. See, this is really cool. Anyone else?
For me, I just got tired of making money for other people, like lots of money, and I just got paid the same thing. Like, it was like the more I made for them, they would pay me more. So I was like, I need to be in business for myself.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm all for that. Wow.
Begging for raises that you're never gonna get.
Yeah.
Promises.
And you work the deal, so you know that.
Like multiple times, I held up my side of the bargain, but they never came through for me, so.
Wow. Well, that's good. That's good to really just take that ownership and say, hey, listen, I can do this. And yeah.
Mine, I was constantly referring my previous realtor business, And then this was something that I was very passionate about in real estate, telling everybody about it. So instead of me sending her all the business, not getting anything, I thought, let me step in and get some of this money.
Wow. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I mean.
Are y'all still friends? Yeah. Christy Hawkins. We're very good friends.
As long as you signed up under her, she's still good. Yeah, she probably, she's okay.
Wow, that's
Sells
awesome.
the whole family homes and friends and everybody else. So.
Wow.
Wow, that's so cool.
That's amazing. Wow, that's really awesome.
Some major success stories in this room. You're hitting on something there, but I mean, ultimately, that's where the problem is too. Because when you come out of a world where they're collecting for you and sending in your tax bill and whatever else, and then you come into this world and all of a sudden you're in, not all of a sudden, but eventually you're into these large sums of money. You can't stop it. You've got gifts and talent and ability and now knowledge. Now, how do you manage that? Because you can get yourself in trouble with the IRS and that weigh you down where you can't even sell because you can't think past that problem. It only takes 1 year to get there because if you have very much success and you go from, I don't know what you were making at Sprint, but it was nowhere near what you make now. But you're having to manage the whole mess. The tax bill, the paying your health, and all the rest that comes with it. And like you said, you got to be tracking your expenses. If you don't track them, you can't count them.
Right.
That's true.
So
Self-employment comes with a price. You have to be able to be a self-employed person.
Budget.
You have to learn how to do this.
Wow. That is so true. I mean, because that is one of the biggest mistakes, I think. I know one of the things I said was not separating business and personal accounts because it's like, yay, they get money for their business or from a commission and it's like, yay, more money to spend on myself, which is okay. But here's the thing, those are tax dollars. And I don't know how many of us have worked in regular employment, but you're right. They took out the taxes for you and they had to pay half of, your taxes basically on top of the taxes that they took out of your check. So it was great, right? And so, but now you're in a position to where you have to pay 15% of self-employment tax. Because guess what? Social Security, Medicare, and federal income tax, they're gonna want, their money. And so when you work for an employer, your employer handled that. But now since you are all on self-employed, they want that. And so most of us, 4 days or however many days, especially in 2019, I'm assuming everyone in here is gonna make more than $600, right? So everyone in here is going to receive a 1099. And with the 1099, you're going to have to, first of all, be prepared to have some taxes, but at the same time, you have to be prepared just in case you want to minimize your taxes. One of the things that I like about, and I wish I had a great visual, is even if you think about it, when you're an employee, you make the amount of money that you make, they take your taxes out from the amount of money that you make, and then you're able to spend it, right? The rest, the net check. However, whenever you are self-employed, this is the great thing about you all being in business, is the fact that you're able to make the amount of money, your revenue, your commissions, and then you're able to spend your money, and then you pay taxes after that. So see the contrast between those two. As an employee, you're gonna have to spend what's left over, what the IRS already took. Here, you spend, and then the IRS gets to come after what's left over. So, and if you guys have any questions, feel free just to shoot them, because sometimes I can just go in and then, that's already one of the solutions. Okay, and then also number 2, we talk about not tracking expenses or profit. And here's the thing is that with some of the issues is I know some people say, hey, listen, I don't know how much my business is making. Yes, you know the amount of your checks, you know the amount of your commission. This month may be a great commission month, But if you have expenses, if you've been having mileage and different things like that, spending money on marketing, spending money on digital advertising, well, it's a good idea to see, hey, listen, with these leads that I received, was it worth it? Like, did I get any qualified leads? Did it lead to an actual close on a sale? And so that's one of the things. Number 3 is not estimating the taxes owed, and that's one of the big things. Again, and I know I'm talking to people that have been in the business for a while, and so you all know that when you were an employee, it was great because they paid all your taxes for you. However, in self-employed, they call this thing, they have this thing called, hey, listen, we know you don't have an employer to take out all the taxes and everything, but hey, listen, you're gonna have to do it on a quarterly basis. And so what that means is that you are going to have to estimate how much you will have to send to the IRS basically. So quarterly, and I can give those dates in a later, but that's just more into detail. But I know January 15th, tomorrow, for most of you, if you guys already haven't already, would need to send a self-employed estimated tax to the IRS so that whenever you file before April 15th, you'll already have paid most of your taxes. And I know some people, like I know someone, they just said they just wait until their tax bill is due and so that's fine too. So, but however, I do know the IRS, they like to put on the penalties, they like to do that. But a lot of the times, whenever you spend a lot of money because you think all of it's yours and you don't have a separate account to put towards taxes, it can have a lot of issues, right? So here's the thing. You make your money, you have your expenses, and then from that, you can go ahead and allocate maybe 20% or 30% in a separate bank account just for taxes. So guess what? Whenever you're tempted to do to withdraw some money for your personal, you don't have to worry about that tax money because that is a pain whenever April 15 comes around and you're like, hey, listen, like there's a client that probably owes like $10,000, like they have to front that or even more. It's like way more than that. But he's fine with it, so that's one of the things too. And so another thing is not properly tracking business mileage. And I know most of you are really good at tracking. Do y'all use any apps for that?
Mile IQ. Okay, good.
I was told that if you write your vehicle off and then you write off expenses on your vehicle, that you can't take mileage.
True.
And we depreciate.
One or the other.
Yep, one or the other.
And so I just appreciate it.
True. Okay, so you appreciate, yes, and you switch. And here's something else too, that if you've been using actual expenses versus mileage, then you, like the tax law that for 2018, you're able to depreciate a lot more quicker. That means so if you buy a luxury vehicle, oh, yeah, you're good. So oh my gosh. So your tax laws, you already know, like they are like set up to where it's not gonna take.
Keep track of that stuff.
Yeah. And that's some of the things. I know some people, they just said, hey, let me just check my mileage because it's easier. But once you all, get to a place, then, it's either way, because I know that most of you travel a lot, as far as mileage and everything like that. So that's something else to look at. So what are some other things? I know I put 4 mistakes, but what are some other things that you have seen for those who have been in the business? Anything else as far as finances, reports, all of that?
I'm trying to figure out, that's what this is hoping to learn here today, is how can we use this program or a program like it to be able to track this stuff, stay on top of it as you go, rather than at the end of the year, somehow or another hand a CPA a shoebox full of receipts and say, here we go. Because I have
all this stuff.
Trash bag full of them. Yeah.
Okay, this is good. So, because I'm a CPA and I don't know, the whole shoebox full of receipts and Yeah, that
Did
was,
you really get that?
I haven't personally, oh, yes,
And all the ink's coming off of it,
Yeah.
and you can't even read it anymore.
Here's the thing, okay, I love that, because that is such a pain, because you can't even read it anymore.
Right.
You don't know what it's for, then your accountant's calling like, what is this for? You're like, I don't know.
Figure it out, send it in there.
Yeah, put something in there, that looks like a $20 receipt, right? And so, because of the oil. But here's the thing, so 3 solutions to keep more money in your pocket is of course tracking your deductions, digitally. I didn't even put digitally, but tracking your receipts, tracking your mileage, tracking your clients and commissions and reports to track progress. And how we can do that is, I am a QuickBooks Pro advisor, and so that's the thing. With QuickBooks Online, you're able to track all of this. You're able to snap a picture of a receipt, and if you want to put it somewhere, you can, but you're able to, write on it and say, hey, listen, this is meal for a client. Now, for this year in taxes, we're not able to pay for any entertainment, but we are still able to deduct 50% for meals with clients. And so here's the thing, like paper is just almost going obsolete. Like if you can have your receipt emailed to you, that's probably a way that I would almost even prefer. Have your receipts emailed, but then if you're at a restaurant and you have to deduct meals, take a picture of it. And so with QuickBooks Self-Employed software, you actually have a way to take a picture of your receipt and then not even think about it anymore. Because that's all the information. Listen, the IRS is just wanting the information from that. Hey, meeting with a prospective client, meeting with a prospective buyer. Yes,
So when you take that picture and you send it to where?
so you would upload it to so QuickBooks Online actually has an app, and you can actually just snap a picture and boom, like put the amount and boom.
And it's first thing going when you take the picture and boom. Do you have little,
That columns, like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, do
So,
you log into your app, or like, do you just take the picture and then you then hit like?
it doesn't just put itself somewhere?
okay, so this is good. I like this process. So basically, so you're eating, you're like, okay, thank you for the receipt, pay for your meals, I give you 50% off. So what's gonna happen is you're gonna snap a picture within your phone. You're gonna go into your QuickBooks app. Once you go into your QuickBooks app, it's gonna say add an expense or something like that, add a receipt. Once you do that, I think there's a plus sign that says add receipt, and you can just pick it from your pictures and they'll add it to the QuickBooks Online, so.
And so is there, in the QuickBooks Online, is there business, office expense, client
Oh, yeah.
meal? I mean, so what, then you just go down and say, I want it into the meals for.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mhm. So, and that's what's great about QuickBooks is because you have, most of you have the same expenses every single month. And so you know when it's meals, you can just boom, code it, I call it coded or classified as meals, and then you're done. And here's another thing, most of you use MileIQ. One of the things that I will have to see is that if MileIQ can merge or sync with the QuickBooks Online Self-Employed. So I'll have to check into that, but that's something easy as well too, because with MileIQ, you're able to track whether or not if it's business or personal, and you can do the same thing with QuickBooks Online. So that's one of the major advantages. Marketing, advertising costs, if you can get those receipts emailed, or if you have a paper receipt, you can still do the same thing. Take a picture and then put it as marketing expenses. And so that's one of the things that you can do. Also, one of the things with QuickBooks Self-Employed is the fact that you're able to track, they're able to remind you of estimated quarterly taxes. So you don't have to think about it on your own. They're like, hey, listen, have you done that? And also it will pull up any basic reports for you so that you can track and see, okay, where am I, how did I do as far as revenues versus expenses? And one of the things that I would recommend with anything is just to make sure to at least go ahead and get a separate bank account for your business if you haven't already. So, yes.
What about a business credit card? Instead of doing receipts, you have a business credit card that tracks
that tracks everything.
Out in your receipts.
The main thing,
Use.
that's what you use.
And it'll have, at the end of the year, it'll have a breakdown. So dining, entertainment, automotive, and it'll list everything you spent for the year and it'll give you a number at the bottom.
Oh, that's fine.
And then you can just take that number and put it on your tax, you know, if it's a 1040C, you can just put it into the box on the tax return.
Okay,
Is that sufficient?
that's,
I think we're still supposed to have the receipt.
well, the main thing that
I mean, if
they,
you have like, you know, 1,500 receipts, how are you gonna track all that?
how are you gonna track all of that, right? The main thing is that they're usually wanting to know like the specifics, at least like who, prospective client. I mean, as long as you know, like, this is for like, every time I spend my business credit card, these are for prospective receipts. So, I mean, prospective clients.
Right,
So,
or if it's like deducting actual automotive expenses, you'll have a column that'll be all mostly fuel or maintenance for vehicles.
Yeah.
And then if you have like business dinners, it'll just have a list of all the restaurants or whatever you spent for food.
good, yes.
Is that sufficient?
Yes, I would say yes, because you can probably always go back and get them. I mean, if the IRS is just that serious about it, but if you, I mean, because that is a lot of receipts to track.
Mhm.
However, if you are able to still take a picture of the receipt or write the client's name on there or something like that, you can also do that as well too, but I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because the fact that you have a business card and you solely use it
Yeah.
for business, that would really help you, so.
Okay, because sometimes it's, you know, well over 1,000
Mhm.
entries on one card for the year.
Oh, yeah, then that's, yeah, definitely.
But don't you need to be able to say, what I was always told by my CPA was that I need to keep track of who that meal was for.
Mhm.
Because like if my family was with me or something like that, you can't deduct that part of it. No, that's what I was always.
Yeah, that's the
Is that
challenge
true?
is to know,
Yeah.
be able to go back 5 years later and say, was the client.
Depends if they audit you or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it comes down to
We
the
just
audit.
criminally audited.
Yeah.
The difference between feeding people getting half the credit for, if you and I are together and we were talking about you setting me up on QuickBooks or being my rep, that would be a business meeting, correct?
Mhm.
Would that be total deduction?
On meals.
50%.
It would only be 50%, but say for instance, if you were to travel and it was an overnight travel, then it would be 100% travel expenses. So I know that's one thing that we have to look for. So if you have to go out of state or something like that for a conference where you have to stay overnight at a convention or an event, then most of those meals, I believe it's only to $75 where you don't have to provide receipts if you're traveling overnight. So that's the main thing. Any other questions? This is good. This is great.
So
Ginger
for-
here is just gonna drive over to Dell City and ride it off for dinner. That's what,
the night. So I got a question.
We're gonna talk business.
So on that 50% deal, so if I take somebody out to eat, my meal's not covered, their meal is covered, 50%, I snap a picture, I upload it to QuickBooks. Then I have to go in there and say 50%?
Oh, no, they'll do it. Like, as soon as you put the line item, because they work really well with like tax softwares and different things like that. So in QuickBooks, particularly self-employed, and this is for if you don't have any employees under you or anything, they actually have line items that can match what's on the tax form. So that's what's good. That's on there. So any other questions?
So if we have, say, year-end statement, you have $10,000 total for meals and expenses on a business credit card. Would you just take half of that and then put that on the IRS form?
And then they would do it for you, like if they were to import information. But typically, if you give it to your CPA, then the CPA would know to deduct half of that, or 50%.
Okay, so if you give them your whole year-end statement, they see you spent $10,000 for dining, then they wouldn't put the 10,000, they would take
Mhm.
half of that.
Yeah, and most tax software programs will do all that magic stuff.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's why you want to put it in the program, because it'll automatically be categorizing what this expense is and know what the percentage you can use or not use is.
Exactly. And so that's really great as well too. Let me go ahead and show you all this. It is a pricing deal. Again, QuickBooks is really great because it definitely covers, tracking it all in your head or tracking it, all on Excel. And so because it can give you, let's see. Okay, this is Simple Start. That I can. Okay, there we go. I'll change the zoom back. So these are some of the options in QuickBooks Online. Is basically you have Simple Start, Essentials Plus, and Self-Employed. So what I'm gonna do is, no, we don't need a chat right now. We don't need a chat right now. So here's one of the things. If you're just starting out, or if you're your own single person and you don't have any employees under you or anything like that, then I would just go with the self-employed, because if you're filing a Schedule C, depending, you can just go ahead and get this. And what it will do is it will track your income, your expenses. You can capture and organize receipts. So that's that option that we talked about. Estimate quarterly taxes, it will do that for you. And then also you can invoice and accept payments if for whatever reason you have to, and you can run basic reports, and then you can also track mileage. So this is the main option I would tell people if they are an independent contractor and they don't have, employees under them or anything like that. So,
Good question.
uh-huh.
And maybe we're getting ready to answer this. My husband has his own business as well.
Mhm.
He's a house painter. Small plug for everybody.
Oh yeah, I'll probably do it.
We have 4 employees, W-2. And so we're looking at needing to do payroll and all of that as well, changing this year. So what, do we need to go with the biggest package so that we can maintain all of that, or?
Okay.
And he invoices from another app that works really well for him, and he thinks that it syncs. He uses, I'm not gonna be able to think of it right now.
But it syncs with QuickBooks Online?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what we can do is, we can talk a little bit more in detail with that. No, but this would be great for you all. Plus, also, we can take one of the payroll apps and merge it with QuickBooks Online, especially if you're paying 4 employees, and then take care of everything. Like they'll pay, as long as you have the money in there.
Because like our CPA, we can pay our CPA to do it, but, it's taking care of some business. But like if it's simple enough to do on our own, we'll do it on our own.
Okay,
So
definitely.
it's kind of where.
Okay, yeah, and then we can see with that as well.
So would she do a QuickBook for each different business they have?
So yes, she would have to do a separate one for her business. However, it depends on how they're structured. Now, there is an option to where you can get the QuickBooks Online Plus, and then I think for each additional company, it's $5.
Okay.
So they do have that as, hopefully that wasn't just a special, but I do remember that.
The
So,
desktop version, you can use as many different files as you want, so.
exactly.
So is it the same for the self-employed one, if you've got multiple?
I think for the self-employed that it only syncs with one account, so it'll just be for each account, basically, so.
But if you were an S corp and you were running all of your business underneath an S corp,
If you were running your business under an S corp, then I would definitely recommend the Plus. I would definitely recommend a plus.
Why is that?
Well, because with a S corp, you're gonna be your own employee, and so, with that, this will give you more, basically more options than this. This is only if you're like self-employed, you know, say for instance, you know, you sell art on the side or something like that. This is where this would come in, if you're your own agent. However, if you have an S corp, that's because you have employees. You may be the only employee, but this would just be better because it's an actual business. And I know with S corps and the way the IRS works, they like that. They like their financial reports.
I got a question. Does that $30 a month, is that cutting, your checks and everything?
No, so with the $30 a month, so this is the straight from the QuickBooks Online. Like if you were to go in and buy right now, you would only get $30 a month, and they didn't do real well
For 3 months.
for 3 months, exactly. For 3 months, and then after that, it's gonna be $60 a month. And so here's the same thing. You would get it for $5 a month, and then it would be $10. And someone mentioned QuickBooks Desktop. I think QuickBooks Desktop, you pay one time and then that's it. And then I believe for upgrades, you may have to, I think, sometimes you gotta pay annually to keep it upgraded. So this is this right here. So out of these options, when most people do self-employed, or are people in here mostly S corps? Or are they?
S corp for me.
I think it's a combination. And I have an LLC for my rentals, so
Okay,
I have 2 of those.
okay.
So what if were a self-employed one individual, but you had, say, one assistant, one employee, which would you recommend? Would it be the plus?
So if you're gonna do like, depending, because if you have an employee, you might as well just go with the plus. Yeah, you might as well just go with the plus, so.
And switch to S corp.
Yeah.
I want to do that. I wish somebody would tell me to do that a long time ago.
Get life together.
Hey, I can, yeah, and then like switching to an S corp, you could definitely do that as well too, so. We just get, I know it's the, shut down for the IRS, and I think they're gonna, have some employees that are gonna help with the tax filing season, but hopefully that section is open for us to elect the S corp status. So just depending, but regardless, we can still do filings. I know they still want their money. They still want their estimated taxes, so. Surprisingly, it's like, I know we're shut down, guys.
But we're open for money.
Yeah. Please.
What's wrong with that?
Right. And so here's just an option that I would make available to you all is that just depending on which option that we plan on taking is the fact that so I have a training basically, or I can provide a training for you all that will go in depth into utilizing QuickBooks Online. And so basically that training would be $97, and it would, so basically what I would do is, I don't know if you guys are more like in person or online, because sometimes I can provide it for an online format and then in an in-person format as well too. So basically it will be a one-time training, and I would teach you, because here's the thing, you can go to a QuickBooks class, I think you gotta pay like $300, $400 or something like that. It's 2 days, and they overload you with so much information. Like I've been to them, and I'm like, I love this stuff, but I'm like, okay, really, seriously, like I had to know that. But the thing is that I just want to make sure that it's detailed for you all. And so really just making sure that you guys have the nuts and bolts that you need to succeed within your area. Like there's some things that you probably won't need. And so what I have is a class that I can provide for you all. And so I don't know if you all would be interested. Basically, I would just go in depth, how to set up accounts, making sure that the chart of accounts is set up correctly. And again, I would be available for any questions and basically a Q&A, so that when you're actually setting up QuickBooks, when you're actually putting in transactions and you have a question, I will be available to answer.
When's the next one? How much does it cost and how long is the class?
So the class would be 2 hours. So, 2 hours, and basically it would be a $97 class. But again, what I can do, because it's a lot of you, but if you wanted to, we can I don't know if you guys are active on Facebook, but what we can do is have like a special community for you all. And so any questions that you have, like if you have a question, or if you have a question and you're like, okay, well, that's the same question I had, you can put it in there and then we can all just like answer it.
Okay, so you're talking about doing a training like here or wherever you're at, or
just on, depending on basically, if you guys want to do it here, we can do one here in person, or I can do it online and you guys can follow along. So either way, it's really what your preference is, because.
So we need to probably see or account maybe who would be interested in doing it here versus online.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about $97 per person?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Me personally, I like to be in the
I'm
class
that way
too.
Okay. Well, and like, I already have QuickBooks, I just don't know how to use it properly, so like, that hands-on for me is really important, like, you come and like, look at my stuff and like, say, yeah, do it like that.
Oh, okay.
Type thing.
And then how many people would you want in the class? Like no more than, we can all get crazy with our questions.
So we could record it.
And we're very
We
needy.
could record it.
We're very needy.
Yeah, because we sell real estate, we don't do accounting.
Oh, that's good. Hey, that's what I'm here for, you guys. I promise. Hey, and this is a good thing. Hey, this $97, it's like really good, because I just was like, oh, let's do it. But the thing is that with this is the fact that it's a tax write-off. So regardless, you're able to write it off for your business. Yes.
That's my question, is this fully tax?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, this is all tax deductible. So here's what I can do. If everyone agrees, it seems like that people will like it in person, we can do it in person. And then for those who possibly can't make it, maybe I can do an online version for them, and then you would all have access to the online version. So you guys will have like a double.
And we'll still have the community thing.
Yes, and we can do the community thing as well.
I've never taken a class more than once, just saying.
Hey, and that's fine too, because the thing is honestly, I've taught in person, QuickBooks online, and the next thing you know is like, they get it, they're like, oh yeah. Then when they actually start going through the transactions, they're like, oh no,
How
so.
different is it to learn online versus, because I have the desktop currently, so I've heard people say that it's way different, so I didn't know.
It is, but if you have a good understanding of what the transactions, now I will say the words are different, the format is totally different, again, because you're dealing with the online platform. So they are different, and it would help, because for you, even though you're pretty good with QuickBooks Desktop, or anybody in here who's have experience with it, I mean, you all will probably get it, like, but where everything is gonna like jack you up. So I would come I would come with a fresh perspective and just say, I'm learning this, because we're used to customers, we're used to, different things like that. Here, they want to be cute and call it, like customer, like they don't need clients, it's just different things different words that they have in there that would be, it's just a totally different platform. Like, yeah. And then like tabs, they don't even look like tabs, right? So here, I mean, you guys would know to click here, but that's how like QuickBooks is set up. They're like, oh, that's a tab I can click on. That's something. So yes.
Can you show us a QuickBooks?
Yes.
Online? That might be helpful.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Let me just go to this. This one's the easiest one. You can go to QBO.
If you have QuickBooks 15 on desktop, the one that just asked the question.
So you can
If you have desktop, QuickBooks 15 for desktop,
It has an online, try online option.
Oh, cool.
It's right in the front.
Oh, cool, thank you. I haven't used it yet, I'm just saying, it's there, sorry. I was afraid to push it.
I'm not hearing it extra, I would just push it just now.
Push that, it wipes everything out.
The last time I clicked on Spanish on my website, and I was logged in, and I couldn't get it to switch my.
Oh, you couldn't read it?
Holy moly, I was trying to hit the back button, and it was like not going back, and I was like.
So if you stop paying for it, do you lose all your stuff or you just can't keep entering new stuff?
Ooh, good
You decide not to keep
Oh.
paying for the service.
I think you do lose, I think you do lose
You
it.
lose your old files? So you
Yeah.
gotta save it to something?
Yeah, I would save
Access
it.
to it, yeah.
Yeah, because they won't give you access. They're like, you didn't,
You need your money, and when can they recover?
What would happen if you got hacked? If you had nothing but one line?
Save it every time you do it.
I think for the most part, they're really good, but that is a question though. That is a question. That would be something, I don't think they've had any issues with them being hacked or anything like that. So I mean, the thing is that hasn't really come up or anything, but they're really big on security. So,
This is through the original Intuit.
yes, through the Intuit company.
So it's this, their same cloud network that they've had for ages.
Mhm.
And they just put everything on it.
Exactly. Exactly. And,
So
okay.
Okay, so the dashboard, will your bank accounts be entered into QuickBooks?
Yes, so this is.
You have to get them hooked up to the bank.
Yep.
We've done that, that was fun.
Okay, so with the bank, you would have to sync it, you would have to sync your bank account, well, once you do that, and if it's a business account, then you don't have to worry about anything else. You can even sync credit cards as well too, so that's something else.
So every time you use it, it automatically goes there, and all you're doing is putting the receipts. Well,
So
that
it's
would be so much easier.
Yeah, this is really awesome. So like with expenses and vendors, right? See, here is just a really good example, but let me show you.
When your monthly statement goes in there, does it doesn't divvy it into the areas it needs to go to though, does it? I mean.
Oh, well, if you're syncing it, it's gonna start uploading the transactions day by day, so.
Okay.
So what you would do is basically reconcile with your bank statement, like, okay, it's clear, it's clear. And so even with this, like, this is basically an example, and this is something that we would go into in depth. I mean, just with the banking and credit cards, again, you have your checking account, savings, MasterCard, right? And these are just 25 transactions, and let me make this. Okay, there we go. I know you guys. So here, and I will go more in depth with this, you will be able to add or find match. So I'll give y'all a good thing, right? So an add would just be that you would just add it within the QuickBooks system. Even though it shows up here, doesn't mean that it's actually added in the books. So that's one of the things. Find match is, let's say for instance that you still write checks and you wrote a check, and then guess what? The check cashes through your bank account and it shows up here. This find match, here it is. This find match would say, hey, listen, I noticed you wrote a check or you had a bill payment for this. Would it be one of these two? And you would be like, yeah, I just wrote a check like a week ago and this is it. So you would just say find match and then just click match. So that's basically it. And then here with my accountant, this is where my info would go. And so what I would, basically, if you had any questions or anything like that, again, you can ask within the community. But here's one thing, with this, if you guys wanted the community and all of that, with this plus, and after that, it would be $60 a month. And with the class, I would be able to do like $30 for 3 months. And then, how can I make this sweet for you all, right?
$5 a month.
I know, right? Yeah. Simple yes, and then I would come back and ask you all for $5. Yeah, so let me
Do you use this on every one of your clients, pretty much?
So this is just what I use, but I can make it, like, if y'all sign up with, but the thing is that I know some of you already have QuickBooks accounts, so I wouldn't be able to apply the prices for that. Yeah, the special prices. But if you all, and this is subject to change, right? So if they go up, then I would have to increase it, but I can make the plus after 3 months, because I'll let you all have the $30 a month, and then after that, then I would go ahead and then do $50 a month for you. So that would be $10 off, but again, you would have access to the community and all of that. So I mean, that's a pretty good deal. I don't know why I'm even saying that, but I'm saying it, so we're making it happen. So so does that sound like?
Say that one more time.
Okay, so basically, this is $30 for 3 months. With the class, yes. So with the $97 class, you will get $30 a month for 3 months. And then after that, then it will be $50. So that's still less than the full QuickBooks amount that you would have to pay. But here's the thing. For those who are interested, let me go ahead.
Want to get like a list or something?
Yeah, get a list. And those are for people who, because again, if you already have QuickBooks Online, and if you take the class, you can still be on the online community. However, I want to be able to apply like the price, like the price points for you all. So, but I can still, because they did this new rule, so they're not able to do it since November of this past year. So, but I would be able to still include you in the community as well too. So, any questions? Any questions?
Yeah, there's a wide variety of experience with QuickBooks in this class. So we have people that have been doing this for days, and we have people that have been doing this for longer than some people who are doing it live. How are you going to effectively communicate the information for that wide of an audience of people in a 2-hour class for $97?
Really, this $97 class is really just going to be like, because I don't know how much it's, but I'm not going to, what is it called? Go into like, you know what I mean? Like if it's like complicated issues, it's really just going to be like a basics course because.
So more for the beginner side of it.
Yes.
As opposed to the people that have been using QuickBooks for 20 years.
So that's true. And then also,
Some of us who've done QuickBooks for years don't know what.
Someone done 20 years wrong, and so
So it would be more for beginners, like beginner, basics. But if it gets to the point to where it is in depth, then that's not an issue. So
you can take it beyond basic. It's just that you need that candidate or group of candidates that have that interest or need. Some other arrangement made where that group could take it beyond the fundamentals and the basics. So, you know, that's why.
and then here's the thing, the good thing about the community is the fact that if you're using QuickBooks for 20 and you're like, hey, listen, I have a complex question, you can actually put it in there and then it can be answered that way as well too, so.
Now, is that community worldwide, or is it just you be answering our questions in the community?
Oh, in the community I created. Yeah.
So are we gonna do the class?
I have another question. I don't know, like, if you're even interested or not, but like, I have multiple businesses with my husband, so I understand that. Would it be maybe do a basic class, and if there's some people that want more advanced, I don't know if that's an option, I don't know.
We could do the basic and then do a
See how many
follow
are
up.
interested.
Yeah.
See how many are interested first before I write it down.
Yeah, that would be good.
Because some may want to do online. Does anybody in here rather do online than come to a class?
I'd rather come to a class personally.
We're all three.
I
can make it like accounting on
Today, someone has to still look at a tutorial.
So you you tell me and show me and then I'm good, but I'm not going on KW looking at it. You know, that is true. I know several people like that. Yes.
Okay, so to do multi-companies, what did you say? You only have to purchase this once, but then you pay extra per month per company.
It's per company. Yeah, I would have to actually, get into more detail with that because for most, no, I don't have a client that does that currently, but I did see it, so I wanna make sure that it is what.
I have 2 companies and I have 2 QuickBooks accounts, and you can like one login, then when you go to login, there's a thing up at the top that says switch companies, and you can switch your company, so I can switch from my real estate up to my rental company, but I pay 2 bills a month. I pay like 2 $17 bills a month or something.
Oh, okay.
So
if you buy the desktop version,
I would have.
I pay one. I've got 3 different companies on my rental.
And you have to pay, so I pay twice.
Because you're doing it online or on the
I'm
desktop?
doing it online, but what I like is like I can come up here and I can get on my QuickBooks, or I can go home and get on my QuickBooks, or, you know.
You don't pay extra for that?
So I have my
Yeah,
I pay
Online is
Yeah.
Do you know, Sandy, if you download an app for your phone?
yeah, I have an app, but I don't know how to work
But
it.
I don't have to pay.
If anyone has any that's online questions.
I think Sandy had, you said you had a QuickBook question, do you want to call me?
Well, it's not really applicable to everyone. I just can't get my online to match.
Apparently it doesn't have the same
Okay.
Somewhere I can, this is what I recommend. But I like download everything. I don't ever read.
But it does give you
in there. Check out, understand why it's not syncing right.
Sometimes if it's not included, so.
Done.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
if you wanna pull it up, I can take a look at it.
I mean, it's just kind of, that's why I brought it.
Yeah, no, so any questions, any other questions?
Do you have a card or like?
Oh, never mind.
I guess my next question would be, and I guess it would just be tailored to each individual, but what do you charge them? I'm sure you do people's taxes. It's a lot easier, I'm sure, when they have this program. But if they don't, for like last year.
Right, it would, okay, so.
Yeah, I'm saying right now, monitoring the staff, no, it's not joking, I said, I'll monitor the staff.
So my phone number is and then my email number is AJ,
Trying to write down the street.
CPA@gmail.com. And then text is great too as well. Yeah. Oh, okay, okay, so your card has been after this.
It's just a lot, I'm just like ours.
Okay.
And I've been doing our taxes, but like,
About 7 points.
Yeah,
it's just, I haven't any back. So I just kind of, and I don't really got enough to do. No, it's really just. It's overflowing, it needs to go to a bigger bag. And I was thinking in garbage, that would be. It's to the point where I'm like, there's so much work to do. And I'm like,
There's one question. You got one.
I have a statement real quick.
Oh, no, it
So-
shouldn't be a problem. The only issue is that if the bank allows you, because I know some banks, like they only give like, well, the one that is here, like they only let you download.
Figure out a date.
But you should be able to.
And locate.
What was her question?
She said if you wanted to.
I would say this to everybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was her question.
This was a good question, so basically, someone was asking whether or not if they wanted to see, like, all of 2018 bank transactions into right now, like, how far can you go back? And the answer is, it really just depends on your bank. Some banks will allow you to download years and years of information. Some of them only go back to 12 months or 18 months. So that's just that. So,
That is a good question.
yeah, that is a really good question. Any other questions?
Taylor,
Yes.
Taylor got a good statement.
A statement for all the people that are thinking about buying the desktop version. I bought the desktop version a couple of months ago, And then I was at Cindy's this weekend and they had it for $40 off of a cheaper price than what I bought it directly through Intuit from. So if you want the desktop version, Sam's looks like the place to go to save about $70.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a big savings.
What I ran into it, I used to have this version, I think, 2005 or something like that, or 3, I think it started out on, and I had to buy it every year then. So that was looking out the online. So you still had to buy it, either way, you just come to go.
Yeah.
Right. That's true.
Janelle?
Oh, yes.
If you have the desktop version, will it sync with the app? Can you take a picture of your receipts we're talking about?
Oh, with the desktop version, so what you would have to do is upload it to your computer and then
Then move it?
Yep, so you can do that as well too, so I work with desktop too, so that's.
And so the app is prepared?
The app would be QuickBooks Online, and so basically you would be able to do like the same thing, but it would just be in a different platform.
You're saying that Apple, the desktop, the QuickBooks app on your phone, you're saying will communicate with the desktop?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, no, that's just only for QuickBooks Online, yes.
Is that app show?
The app?
Just a sign sheet, and it's.
The app only talks to online.
Alright.
The app does not talk to desktop.
There is an interest sheet going around, so if you're interested in moving forward, we'll get the level of interest, how many in this room, and we'll advertise it, maybe some of the others that could come. I'll figure out a way to coordinate with Janelle another time, probably in this room, to do the $97 course or whatever the arrangement is. And we can schedule it probably in February, January, probably go right down and do it. In February, March, somewhere in there, February, as soon as possible, because these guys need to know this as soon as possible. This is not something I'll wait a quarter and then try to catch up on, although you can. You can catch up if you keep in reference.
Janelle, as far as gas, mileage, cars, can you briefly explain the pros and cons of whether you do depreciation on your car or what expenses you can count as business, what you can't? Is there a 5-minute answer to that?
Sure, with the actual. Oh, yeah, so you wanted to know the pros and cons?
Pros and cons between the car versus the mileage.
Oh, okay. So one of the things with both of them, you're going to have adequate, like, I will just say with both of them, you do need to know like your odometer readings and basically how much or what percent you've been using for business and what percent you've been using for personal. So with the actual mileage, some of the pros and cons, like, is basically you do have to keep up with every gas receipt, every repair. But then with that, it depends on out of the total mileage that you've been driving throughout the year. So if you drove, 20,000, that's a lot, but 20,000 miles or just say 10,000 miles.
20.
20, okay, that's accurate. Okay, I know, I'm driving a lot, so I'm not even an agent, maybe I need a switch, but 20,000 miles, and so basically, if you did half of it, and if you knew you were using like half of your mileage, because it's weird because you still have to track, like, what percentage of the miles that you've been using for business. And so say for instance that half of those miles are business miles, then you could get to deduct half of your car expenses. And then it still goes the same way if you've used 80% of it as business, and 80% of all of your actual expenses are gonna go towards that. And so some of the advantages I will say with the 2018 is the depreciation on luxury vehicles have gotten way better. So for instance, if you had a luxury vehicle, I think it used to take like years, like double-digit years, like 18 years to write something off. So for instance, if you bought a $50,000 car or a $100,000 car, it would take years and years and years for you to even depreciate it. Now I believe it's like 7 years or 6 years or something like that. So you're able to deduct a lot more for your depreciation in respect to if you've had 80% or 50% of business. So that's just depending on that. There are advantages and disadvantages, but I think with the advantages of the actual, especially for you all, since I know when I see, real estate agents, they have like really nice cars, that might be a really good, a good deal for you. Here's the thing with mileage. Mileage is great because you still have to do the same thing. You're gonna have to track your odometer readings, like what client you've been visiting or what client you want to go see or what houses, like you get to do that. And so I would say that like mileage that, I think it's what, 56?
58.
58, yeah, we'll get you 58.
For 2019, what was it for 2018?
Yeah, okay, good. I was like, wait, what was it? No, okay, so 56.5, I think. It was like some weird number like that. 56.5. And so, I have to remember. But the thing is with that is the fact that you tend to get, some people tend to get like a nice, it just really depends on a personal situation, but people who take the mileage approach, like it, basically you'll get more rather than like out of gas receipts. Yes.
That's just you driving Chevy and not a Ford.
There we go. Uh-oh. So that's the reason why. So some people will take mileage because it's just more than the gas money. But within that, you do got to think about, well, the maintenance and all of that. But again, for luxury vehicles, depreciation, tax depreciation has gotten really, really good for this year. So really it just depends on the situation. So any other questions?
Jamil, used to there was something on if you drove a vehicle that was weighed a certain amount. If you bought a new vehicle that weighed a certain amount, is there still that?
Yes.
It covered a lot of your SUVs, not all of them. A lot of SUVs or trucks.
Yeah, they will all have their different things. Again, that's really into the details, but yes, like if you have a chassis, I think, and different things like that, if it weighs more than 6,000 pounds, if it weighs less, and it's a light SUV, so yeah, so that is true. They can have different rates for that, so that's good. Any other questions? All right. Well, again, I have a sign-up sheet if you all are interested. And if you have any other questions, you're like, feel free, I'm right here. So, thanks a lot, you all.
Sign going around. Thank you. Everybody that wants on it. Again, 12. So it's 12 so far.
Okay, great.
And so I'll get with you when we can put this on. And we'll have that, at least this group's there.
Okay, there's 12 of them. Yeah, if I can take a picture of that. Actually, my phone's still in the repair shop.
Are you gonna open it up? I'll take one.
Okay, good.
Right, or we make copies. Are we gonna open it up to other people that didn't come?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine. Or you can send it to me or send it to my email. However you want to do it.
Okay, that's why I said.
Like flips.
It might stick with QuickBooks Online. Oh, you're trying to.
Yes.
You're always planning on doing my like that.
Oh, no, it's fine. You just have to find another app. And that's the good thing about QuickBooks Online too, is that you can get apps that will speak. Just depending on where okay.
I had two.
Like
Real estate job,
All right.
Good, you, Bobby Bennett. Bobby Bennett. John.
So you're auctioneer and a realtor?
Yeah. Auctions is a little bit slow, but I still got some things working. Thinking about putting in some online auctions versus the live auctions. That's getting pretty popular, so might be a little bit of, if I can get my wife to take the pictures and put it online, I can do it online.
all your contractors, which is food, interest, electricity, paying the local utility gas bill.
That's my life. That's a beautiful thing. Look here.
I told you, I'm not embarrassed at what I got.
No, that's fine.
Don't be asking me all the questions. Why didn't you back in the day tell me all the
What you would do, like I can show you what you just go through. And then just say, okay, this is what and then you some, okay,
This year's growth season, so she's in summer. This was right, this was girl right. She did still like that, she was her low, and that's the first year she's here.
well, if you want to, then we can actually use it as a.
I was going to pray.
Perfect, okay. I'm hearing that.
5 miles west of Little, in that curve.
I know, because like, maybe different stars, like, it may be, but that was very beautiful, and that's
We got, like Sean, we got once a month, and our whole Bobby's there. We always have cows just been born, the tractor just been bought. There's always about something.
this has been great. I think it all worked. Maybe some other ones
interested. I would probably do this.
All right, take care, John. Good to see you. Appreciate your families. Got you here. She didn't get it. They didn't tell me.
Okay, yeah, that'd be perfect, and then I will tell two days later, we get enough interest. No,
go back about
and do it. Probably, I can have a running, a portion. I will just say that.
They're probably leave their budget for something now.
Yeah, that's right.
I was like, oh, we gotta go get kids, so, okay. Oh, both of you.
Somebody said it again.
Yeah, and then people who know advanced, you know, that's fine, you know, they probably don't need. But if they have any questions, they can, right, so. But really, it's not gonna be like that, I'm waiting for. It's close, it's not. So online community, I'm thinking about like, should I keep it to you, or should I do like, broadband, like, you know, in a contract? But y'all are like, yeah, we got our own issues.
Yeah, I mean, outside investors in your company. I think there's how much neediness. If it's a bunch of overwhelming, then it may need to stay in one group.
You can do that.
She's got
You can do
inside
that, so
there.
perfect, so.
I think once everybody gets it down, it will be some.
These are inside.
Your investor?
After the training, right, I think this is good, so.
Make my job a lot easier.
Yeah.
I may be smart, but I've come up with
Y'all done.
Okay. I heard words.
Hey, I got neighbors from Louisiana. Do you have lots of kids?
I have 0 children.
He's on number 9 with 10 on the way.
My parents, families with 10, 15 kids. There were 5 of us. I have nieces and nephews from my years.
You can leave that.
Okay. And she just said.
Well, I got one here.
What I was saying
That's
was.
my wife's baby.
That won't be an issue to do, it's one group
Way.
on your face and another group, so.
Well, how many? He's always something you know, it's some close.
I would be fine for,
You know, our renters, you know, because I'm assuming what it is, and I know it's gonna be hard, you know, I don't think it's gonna be hard for you, because the thing is, the people that know more than a lot of other people, they can help them.
So you want to do this,
You know,
That's why I'm so.
Okay.
So, by my house, he looks like a, still be a
Pretty large group.
Yeah, but you know,
Thank you. So maybe around.
My wife is doing the
Okay.
theater season.
And then if it gets more than that, I don't mind doing
So
multiple,
this
I'll do
one,
multiple classes.
she leaves.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right,
She said,
thank
"Take
you.
yours just when you get up."
Okay, see ya.
And I wake up about 7:15 and I'm here. Boom, boom, boom. He's stomping in the beat drop. He gets up in the beat drop and stomps. It sounds like a bell ringing whenever.
we have one that used to literally knock his head against the door, the back door of the house.
Oh, this one used to call the house. This one used to call the house.
Well, you know it's time for you to be up to take care of business. This is a farm. This is not a recreation center. And those animals are very sensitive to what time it is. So it's nice to meet you. Obviously, you've got a lot of good background already. You can be helpful in the room with on that subject we had today already. And so we look forward to working with you as best as we can. Like I say, I know it's a little distance for you guys to come, but I'm in here in Midwest City. And like I said, I get out to once a month. But generally, we do they don't get so here. Is that right? All right, very good. Let you guys know the trip over. I hope it's useful. Training and
That's the big trouble is in stomps.
so there's the song. Okay.
The other day it was raining, he was standing out there calling the trailer. So I went out and opened the trailer, "Oh, you got to do this."
These guys said something made out of rain.
He is son of a-
Oh, my God. Oh,
There's one of those.
I love cows. I think they're the cutest animals on the planet.
They're not very smart, though. If you let your fence go down, you seem to be able to figure it out. All right, guys, thank you, Don.
Thank you.
See you all. Nice to meet you.
You too.
Yep. All right.
Don, that was close to what we were looking for.
Yeah, I think it was, not quite much details I was hoping
No,
for,
I
but,
think everybody,
but I think,
I
we had
think
to
we
listen.
needed some categories.
Yeah, just, but at the end of the day, she's, I think she's more motivated by, getting the individual class set up. But she knows, I just want to say, do you know your stuff? And she knows the subject because of whatever she's been teaching. And so, like I said, I kept thinking, okay, let's get into some meat. And she started to, we can go to that, sample.
We just got a
website.
new accountant, and she just got all of our 2018 reconciled from bank statements on QuickBooks. She just took her bank statements and put them where she thought they need to go, and then checked with us, was this right? And so that's where we are now.
Susanna's, she's got, she never has hooked the bank automatically, so she's always entered it individually herself too. And, but now she's got Christina doing it, so that, she's not having to load it anymore. Christina likes doing it and did it. And, that's the biggest trouble with it, is just having the time or taking the time to load them and categorize them.
Wow.
And, so, but she doesn't have the online version, she just has,
Yeah.
she buys it, every year she pays another couple $100 for it. But it sounds like if you're doing the online one, it may not be as much.
Yeah. Okay, Don, from our formula on finding, I know I'm beating this to death, but from our formula on finding the absorption rate.
Yep.
Which is active, pending, and sold. Active plus pending.
Well, here's the formula would be, how many are active?
Active.
Then you get a number.
Right.
Then you go to the pendings and sold, after, just the same search, same range.
Right.
And that is, the pendings and solds are your.
Those are the ones that are out of the game.
They're the buyers, the evidence of buyers or demand. The actives are supply.
Correct.
So when we're taking the supply, whatever that number is, and then we just look at it, it's a total of certain, this is everything that's in this price point and location. The pendings and solds, I shrink to 90 days or less, 0 to 90.
Right.
Because I want to know what the last 90 days velocity has been. And then divide that by 3, and that tells me every month, this many people buy this price point house in this location. And
So what am I dividing by 3? The actives?
no, pendings and solds
I'm dividing the pendings and solds.
by 3.
And then you divide what else is left.
Yeah, you take the number of actives by the monthly amount. The one actually divided by 3 gives you the monthly amount. Then that tells you how many months it will take at that pace to get rid of it.
But on our fast stats, that just makes it so pretty.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's a tremendous.
Do you like that? I mean,
I love the fast
beautiful.
It's just, and you can go from
Immediately.
the entire market
Yes.
to their zip code, to the city they're in, or
Well,
whatever.
I'm sharing with my Gold Star group, and I just wanted, so I did 4 or 5 different areas, and, but I just wanted to know what I was saying.
Yeah, and that's really valuable to just basically be able to say, you know what? There are this many buyers a month buying properties in this price range in this school district or location.
Right.
And so, for somebody else to just quantify that.
Everything is okay. Our market is not falling apart.
No, I said that the other day in the focus forum, I'm going to call it, I think, is that we're going to talk ourselves into a shift if we keep doing it. Because right now, I don't see the December numbers
Oh, I pulled up the December numbers. Just the whole MLS is 3 months. 3.3 is the highest. So we're okay.
Well,
And everything is
certainly
local,
are.
local, local.
That's right. December, the only negative number in the December numbers was the
There was a
closed
little bit-
units.
Right.
It was a down 10%, but that's not a trend, that's just a December. And, but for the year, we were up in every category. Every category was
Exactly.
positive for the whole year. And so
But you can't hardly talk real estate without talking with the
you
lender.
can't.
You gotta have those interest rates. They're not gonna go up right now. Everybody's all messed up and scared.
Yeah,
So they
the-
said refinancing, but I read the, thing that I got in the email today. Refinancing was way up, 20% up for January. People are refinancing 30-year notes because it's less than 4.
well, I mean, the rates can come back down again, so they're thinking, I better do it while it's down again. But I don't know, I mean, I thought the rates were around 4.5, that was the last number I heard, but that's much better than 5 1/8, and
Oh, yeah.
above 5 we had there for a while.
And then, Dustin did meet with the other partners and they are moving forward with that sale.
All right, and that's what I told him, I said, there's still players.
Yeah.
It's a very unfortunate thing, but there are still players that have the right to own that at some point, and it's up to them what they're willing to do or can do.
Right.
What this-
So, he met with them Thursday after recharge, and seems like it's all okay.
Well, good, I mean, he was alarmed by that, I was glad, I just happened to be there that day.
I was
Just
glad.
to kind of help him calm down just
Yeah.
a little bit, he was, he was just, I could just tell he was alarmed about what do I do about this.
He just felt so bad, and he just thought he might have, he knew he could share some things and not everything, which I think he should have, and, so he talked to you, he talked to Casey, and then some attorney, and he goes, you shouldn't have said anything, it's like, 3 people died.
I know. And his compulsion would be to try to help find whoever did this. But that's what I told him. I said, you have confidentiality still playing out here.
Yeah.
And because if the confidentiality could have gone away if there's nobody alive that was still in the transaction.
Right.
But there are. There are people still in that.
There would have been, that would have been the killer.
Could have been. Who knows?
So they said, would you like to meet at the shop, or would you want to meet somewhere else? He goes, Starbucks or whatever. You gotta be.
Nice public space.
It's crazy.
Well, that's what after I got thinking about it a little bit, I got to thinking too, kind of, you should be, everybody's a suspect
Yeah.
until somebody is. And, so, anyway, I mean, that was an unusual.
Yeah, I said, all we ever worried about was a tornado blowing away. Who knew? Yeah.
We're done.
But he's got another good story, then